Before the championships, before the awards, and before the shoes, there was a beginning. Here in Wilmington, North Carolina, it all began. After having a great high school career in Laney Hill, Michael was heavily recruited from the University of North Carolina. North Carolina was a well-known college with a great basketball team that already had 2 stars on the roster, the 6'9" center Sam Perkins and the future Hall of Famer James Worthy. James Worthy already was a new kid in town and showed in his first season that he will be a future star.
My junior year, I felt really good and I was ready to explode. Here comes Michael. I can remember his recruiting trip. I didn't even see the guy, but I just heard his voice getting off the elevator. I was down in my room at the end of the hall and the elevator doors opened up. And all I could hear was this big mouth. And it was Michael Jordan. And he was like, yeah, this is gonna be my hall. I'm taking over this dorm. And I was like, he's still in high school. You know, he's still in high school. And I'm like, who is this guy?
Over 4,000 18-year-olds arrived in Chapel Hill in the fall of 1981. One of them was the outgoing kid named Mike Jordan. Right from the beginning, you could see that he was as competitive as he can be. Future Hall of Famer James Worthy remembers his first impressions of Michael Jordan.
Very confident. And you learned early that you're not going to beat him at anything. Backgammon, nothing.
I didn't like to lose at anything. Now, and to this day, I still don't.
I was the best on the team. And so he saw it in me. He said, I'm going to kick his butt. So every day after practice, he'd want to play one-on-one games.
He and I used to have some pretty good battles. I wasn't intimidated by him at all.
He was always elbowing me, come on.
And we joke about it even to this day.
I was up like 3-2 and I quit at 3-2. So I always have that on Michael.
Being that he was a junior and I was a freshman, one game didn't seem like a big league. So yeah, he may have had one game, but it was very close. You know, I made him respect the way I played.
Being a huge Magic Johnson fan, Michael earned himself the nickname Mike Magic Jordan. Being a starter as a freshman wasn't usual back then, but Michael did just that, showing everybody right from the start that he was ready for the task.
I never thought he was arrogant, but that he was full of confidence. Yeah. And I was better than Michael Jordan for about 3 weeks. First 3 weeks of practice, and I saw some things in him, Twan, that I mean, he dunked on Sam Perkins and I one time, and I still know how he did it. But I saw him in the raw.
It was Mike Jordan, Mike Magic Jordan, which was given to me by my high school coach at the time, and it was just, you know, one of those things that identified who I was.
Right back out, Michael Jordan for 3, his second. Jordan trying to post Anderson down low, now gets away from him, takes the jumper. It is mighty happy that Perkins looks like he is healthy. Michael Jordan with Braddock, Jordan, Doherty, and Perkins, the starters. Jordan, deep left corner. 4:11 left. Michael Jordan wants a shot. Down with it, now low, has his pocket. Jordan. 3 to go in overtime. Phyllis just gave Sam Perkins a shot. Over the 6, the Tar Heels lead it. Jordan with a mover on the baseline. 16 seconds left. The shot clock. Michael Jordan. Still well, puts it away to Jordan. Jordan drives lane, takes the jump shot. Good. Michael Jordan at the corner. Rimmed out, would go. Jordan off the left baseline. Jordan.
Most of us were kind of in the raw when we came to Coach Smith, and he either slowed you down or he either enhanced your game throughout his theory. But Michael was an incredible freshman, and you know, one of the rare moments that he was able to start. Phil Ford, myself, and Michael, I think, was the 3rd freshman to ever start. So he was a competitor. I mean, the guy didn't like to lose in anything. You could play him in a game of backgammon, a game of cards, and he would be emotionally upset if he lost. And so I knew he was going to be an all-star, but I didn't know he was going to be possibly the best player I ever played. Never.
With the sensational freshman Mike Jordan, the All-American James Worthy, and the 6'9" big Sam Perkins, the 1982 North Carolina Tar Heels cruised into the Final Four. Coach Dean Smith finally had a chance to win it all and to silence his critics once and for all. James Worthy was having a great game, scoring 28 points against Georgetown in the finals. But 31 seconds before the end, the Tar Heels were trailing by 1.
Our guys come to the bench, and I did not like the look on their faces. They came in and sat down in front of us. Coach Smith said, "We're exactly where we want to be." And my first thought, I don't mind saying, is, did I look at the score wrong?
He called the play. He looked at me and said, "You may get the ball."
I hit him on the tail like that and said, "What comes to you, knock it in."
Well, that's a green light. It wasn't even time for me to look for anybody else. So when the ball got to me, I just went up and shot it.
Back to Michael Jordan, jumper from out on the left.
Perkins will be going up at center circle against Pat Ewing, and the 1982 NCAA championship is underway.
I figure Sleepy Floyd's going to go for the jumper.
Is he ever? Fake beautifully once, twice, gets a roll, and the Hoyas lead by 1. Dean Smith asks and gets timeout. That was the 15th lead change we've had in this ball game.
And he said, "We're exactly where we want to be. We're going to decide who wins this game." And all of a sudden, the look on everybody's faces changed completely. And the guys left the huddle, and as they were walking out, Coach slapped Michael on the rear end and said, "If you get it, Michael, knock it in."
18. Shot. Jordan. Michael Jordan. The emotion of NCAA basketball.
He knocked it in, and then the Lord or somebody told Freddie Brown to throw the ball to James Worthy, and we won the game.
North Carolina has won the 1982 NCAA championship.
Every time we do the introduction for the starters, you know, that shot comes up, and it's amazing how the gym gets so loud when everyone sees it, and that's just because everyone realizes what kind of player Jordan was and how big of a shot it was. That just gives me goosebumps on my arms.
You know, it goes down as one of the greatest shots of all time. You know, it's something that you can appreciate, especially being a Tar Heel, but just being a basketball fan, you know, that's a huge shot that you'll always remember.
Changed my name from Mike Jordan to Michael Jordan. You know, it became a stabilizing, you know, thought for whenever I play the game of basketball, that I belong on this level. I can compete at this level, and I can be successful.
And now we are ready for the third pick, and the Chicago Bulls, who have been drafting very high down through the years, and they have the third pick today.
The Chicago Bulls pick Michael Jordan of the University of North Carolina.
All right, Michael Jordan, this is Eddie Doucette in New York. How you feeling?
Just fine. How you doing?
Real good. College Player of the Year amongst so many other honors. Picked third in the NBA draft by the Chicago Bulls. You'll be getting a chance to see close up Enos Watley and Wiggins and the rest of those fellas. How do you think you'll fit there?
Well, hopefully I fit pretty well. I'm looking forward to it. I played with Enos when I came out of high school, so I'm looking forward to playing with him again.
All right, now at 6'6", 195 pounds, actually you could play two positions. Which would you prefer?
Well, it doesn't matter really. Whatever can contribute to the team. If I have to play small forward, if I have to play guard, whatever whatever the team needs.
Some of the people who know this game best say that perhaps you're going to be a beautiful big guard. How do you feel about that?
Well, hopefully that become true. I'm not looking forward to going in and trying to live up to everyone else's expectations. I just want to go in and contribute the best way I could, and just look forward to whatever coach.
His jumbo leadership qualities on the floor. And as Watley at one guard, and now the noise factor begins to really increase. Here is the man. They call him Mr. Jordan in Chicago. The standing ovation for Michael Jordan from North Carolina, the number 3 pick in the NBA draft.
You know, a lot of pressure has been brought to bear on this young man's shoulder. He is in a very awkward position. As we said, we know he must be excited, but the position that they're putting this kid in here, building up everything on this team around him is going to be something that only a Michael Jordan probably can own up to.
And of course, Kevin Lothry, the head coach, really likes what he's got right now. They do have one problem, and that is David Greenwood, who is apparently holding out at this time.
David Greenwood is still having some contractual problems. I think it's going to be interesting to note that depending on how well this front line does here tonight, it's going to depend on, well, how important the Bulls front office see it to sign David Greenwood.
Special presentation at midcourt, as we will have the opening tap coming up for you momentarily. The officials for tonight's game are Jess Thompson and Wally Rooney. And we are just a few moments away. Here comes the ceremonial taps from the Chicago Cubs. That is Gary Matthews. And, of course, the very popular Chicago Cubs left fielder who did all he could possibly do to try to help his team beat San Diego, but they fell one game short.
Not a bad year for the Cubs.
No. City is definitely excited about the Cubs, about the Bears, and the Chicago Bulls hope to get them equally excited. And this game is underway, as it is Michael Jordan who comes down with the basketball. Over to Watley, and we are underway with play on the front court. Swing it to Woolridge on the far side. Round on top to Steve Johnson. Here's Jordan with his first shot of the game. Off the iron, won't drop. Rebound. Steve Johnson follows to the glass and scores.
Exactly what Chicago has been hoping for from Steve Johnson. Some power inside.
His back, didn't see the ball come loose. And as Watley quickly in front court to Jordan. Looking for penetration. Spin move. Hangs in the air off the glass and in. And that's what Wes and I were talking about in the pregame show.
You knew it was going in. All this excitement, it had to go.
Timeout has been called by the Bullets. They don't want to get this one get out of hand early. We'll take a break. 7:19.
Somebody every kid on every playground in America is talking about. Michael Jordan, $4 million a year superstar, leaping, twirling, flying through the air like a man unleashed from gravity.
By now, the Bulls are owned by Reinsdorf. Jerry sees a lot of opportunities.
They knew they had Michael, but now it was trying to figure out what else worked. That included players and coaches. That was kind of the task that Jerry Krause was given, was to observe what we had and really change the culture. I learned early on that the best thing I could do was compliment Michael.
Jordan, having played only 18 regular season games, goes in and gets 63 points against Boston. That really opens national eyes to, wow, this guy, he's not just a great player, this guy is something different. Larry Bird says this is God disguised as Michael Jordan.
Boston Garden was home to many great Celtic championship teams, but the 1985-86 Celtics, led by three-time MVP Larry Bird, were truly something special. They posted a franchise-best 67-15 record that season, which earned them a meeting with Michael Jordan and the Bulls in the first round of the playoffs. Coming off a foot injury in only his second year in the NBA, Jordan was faced with an interesting problem.
The question is, can one man beat the Lakers, or do you need a more diversified attack today?
Well, we're playing the Boston Celtics, Pat, but
I think it's going to be more of a five-man game, and we really have to play a complete basketball game. I don't think one man can beat the Boston Celtics.
It's hard to imagine that 6 weeks ago you were sitting on the bench.
Yes, it is. It's very hard for me to imagine. I'm very happy I'm playing now, and I'm very happy that I can contribute to the team.
All right, thank you. Good luck today. You don't have to remind me again that you are playing the Boston Celtics. Air Jordan's getting ready to take off. The problem is the runway is in Boston.
When Michael would get in those zones, he'd want the ball more than anything else. Everyone else would want him to have the ball.
His teammates took note of his focus in the locker room before the game and sensed he was intent on doing something big, maybe even the impossible, defeating the mighty Celtics in Boston Garden all by himself.
Going baseline. Michael Jordan, the basket good and a foul. Fantastic quickness going to the baseline. That was a pickpocket move if there ever was one.
But Larry Bird's Celtics presented an imposing obstacle indeed. United by Bird's vision, they were the consummate passing team. Bill Walton had joined the Celtics that year and blended flawlessly with their chemistry in his role as sixth man.
Bird from Walton.
On the other hand, the Celtics fans had never really seen an individual talent like Michael Jordan. And on April 20th, 1986, he was the center of their attention, even as the Celtics center, Robert Parrish, scored for their team.
Parrish gets free.
And so the battle waged, with Jordan evoking hushed cries of anguish mixed with amazement from the savvy fans, while the Celtics' gritty play inspired their cheers.
Who wants it? McHale! He was almost on his back.
Taking the tempo away from the Celtics, trying to Michael Jordan right now.
What a great shot, and a basket and a foul. You talk about Bird's sheer determination in certain points of a game. Michael Jordan has those same qualities.
The Celtics could only shake their heads as they found themselves unable to shake the Jordan-led Bulls.
Jordan banks it in, and Jordan with 40 points.
He was in that zone of everything was going. He was making one shot better than the next.
Unintimidated even by Larry Legend, Jordan let it all hang out, displaying much more than mere hang time. He revealed a complete all-around game, as Game 2 of this first-round series emerged as a classic in the making, with Jordan performing his unparalleled moves to the basket, and Boston responding in tried-and-true Celtics fashion.
Ainge to McHale. Clock running down, 3 seconds, three-point shot, no good. And a foul, late sweep. A foul against Kevin McHale has been called by Middleton, with no time showing on the clock. Kevin McHale can't believe it.
In one of the first tests under pressure of his career, Michael Jordan showed all the poise of a veteran as he calmly stepped to the line and sank crucial free throws.
He can tie it up here and send the game in overtime. No time remaining. And this is pressure. Overtime in game. Jordan ties the game.
Oh, boy.
63 points, and you're looking at an all-time record.
Oh, boy.
Michael Jordan.
After that, it took him from a star to superstar to eventually the biggest superstar in basketball history.
In the end, the Celtics prevailed, and they would go on to win the series in 3 games. But from that day forward, the history of Boston Garden would include not only the many championships of Celtic teams past, but also the remarkable playoff performance of a young Chicago Bull named Michael Jordan.
And now in his own town, Chicago, Michael Jordan here to defend the 1987 Slam Dunk Championship.
At dunk contest, which was in Chicago, that it became a duel where you had the 2 marquee names going at it from a creativity standpoint.
Well, when you compete against Michael, first of all, if you wasn't ready to play, you got embarrassed. And it's the same thing in the dunk contest.
Jordan wants to put some pressure on everybody by trying to do something special right out of the gate.
Oh, you call that special score. I can tell you that right now.
The dude is amazing in terms of his creativity, and all I tried to do was, be as amazing.
I tell you what, I couldn't do that one in my dreams.
That's sweet, man. Woo!
I was more of a soar, a flyer.
It's ready for launch. The plant, the tongue out, the flare with the legs.
Dominic was more of a dunker, powerful force.
Power that Dominique has. He has more power than any dunker that I've seen play this game, with the creativity also going along with it.
We look forward to competing against one another, and you had two great competitors who didn't want to lose.
This is much like a heavyweight championship crowd, you know, and they are trading big, heavy right punches.
Give him a 50, give him a 50.
Came down to our last dunker, who was going to get it.
And the judges have awarded Dominique Wilkins a 45. That's incredible.
Unfortunately, I probably would have given it to him, but being that it was on my home turf, it wasn't meant to be.
They gave him a 50. They gave Jordan a 50. He defends his championship.
That was probably my favorite dunk.
I don't think you would ever see that type of competition ever again.
Doug Collins is hired as coach. Opening night there in Madison Square Garden. Jordan goes over to Doug before the game, says, "Don't worry, coach, I'm not letting you lose this game." Scores 50 points. And from there, takes off on his spectacular season. Averages 37 points. Even though Magic and Bird are winning titles, this guy is the guy that everyone in the league wants to see. This is the most spectacular player in the game. And now the stadium begins to fill up. Bulls tickets become a specialty item. What is he going to do next? The Bulls really enhance upon that. They put together a show that becomes iconic. The Bulls introductions, the Bulls game presentation, things that are going around in the Chicago Stadium. Nobody had done this. This is it's practically unheard of.
Outside of drafting Michael Jordan, the most significant draft was the year that they drafted Scotty and Horace. You could tell that they were going to give us a different dynamic on the floor. Their athleticism, their length was something that we didn't have. Now Michael was really a veteran, and now the younger guys had to come in and really show him that they could play.
The closeness and the bond is just not something that happened overnight, especially when you talk about a guy like Michael, who was globally a huge icon. We just needed that time to bond as not only teammates, but as friends.
The rivalries back then were more significant than they are now, especially in a division, because you played those guys 6 times a year. And it seemed like every time you turned around, you were playing them. They were real rivalries. We, for years, got bullied by the Pistons. It was confrontational. We didn't like them. They didn't like us.
It was a great rivalry. It did a lot for us in terms of teaching us. We knew that we were right there and that there was a few things that we had to do to get over the hump.
It wasn't kind of just handed to us. We had to take our lumps along the way. Every year we seemed to find a little bit more cohesiveness as a team, but it was a process, and it involved Doug Collins kind of doing his thing for 3 years, getting us to a spot when hiring Phil Jackson, and his teaching and coaching that gave us a little impetus to get to another level.
We had a lot of adversity going into that Game 7, which we thought we could win. We had such a great Game 6 where we demolished them. After that game, there was a lot of long faces. You really got a sense of how important this game was and how important where we needed to be as a group. I remember Jordan stand up at the end of the game, and we're in the locker room, and he said, "This will never happen again. We'll never lose to this team again."
For years, it was very easy to rely on Michael. Phil brought a belief that as great as Michael was, he couldn't do it all by himself. Phil had to sell Michael more than anybody, but all of us on this triangle offense. It was really just a system of play where everybody touched the ball, everybody had an equal opportunity. It was really instilling in us a belief that it was a team game. It's going to take all 5 of us to get over a team like the Pistons. As time went on, we saw the value in it. They taught us how to read the defense. If a pass was taken away here, the ball went to another spot. Here were the cuts that you made off of it. And it was unlike anything in the NBA at the time. That gave us an identity other than Michael.
Phil's Tex Winter kept us to the grind in terms of trying to learn the offense. We all realized that we had a learning curve, whether it was growing up mentally or more physically, learning what we had to do to be more competitive and be more complete.
I remember Michael telling me and BJ, we're no longer kids anymore. You guys are pros. Be in the gym working on your games and be ready to play. We started working out together as a team and we became closer.
For me, it was definitely to get more physically strong as well as Horace, and for Michael as well.
The thing that nobody will ever really understand or appreciate is the practice floor. That's always been the sacred part of it because people couldn't get in there. You know, they couldn't see it every day and know what that meant. It's away from the lights. It's where you bond as a team.
Everything was competition. It didn't matter if it's, practice. It didn't matter if it was shooting free throws.
The practice were very competitive, and those practices made us so much better and so much more comfortable from a game situation.
When you're playing against the best players at their position every day, when you go out and play Utah, the Lakers, they're not as hard as what we see every day in practice. By game time, we were all as one. And when we came in this building, egos got checked in at the door. It was all about a we and not me.
Our belief was if we can get home court advantage, we can beat the Pistons. As we got into it, we got in a little rhythm and on a roll, and we ended up winning 61 games, and we started to gain some confidence. If there was a physical issue, Bill was always the one that stood up. And he was also the guy that when we needed to kind of settle a game down, we could always throw him the ball in the post, and he was going to find a way to score, get to the free throw line, and he was still playing at that level at that time.
Bill Cartwright, Paxson, those two guys, they were great leaders. They took us young players under their wings. If we weren't eating right, we heard about it. If we were staying out together, we heard about it. They really had a good, calming force of what we're doing, and they were well respected.
We had just had a nice mix of, our starters blended well, guys coming off the bench blended well. One thing that Bill stressed more than anything against Detroit was they're the physical bad boys. They want to beat you up. We're not built that way. Let's show our athleticism, our finesse.
You're playing against a team that knows what you're doing and know the difficulties that you're dealing with in terms of learning the offense.
Time is running out on this Detroit championship era. Chicago Bulls gunning for a sweep.
It just absolutely came together in that playoff series against them.
And we're set for the start of Game 1 of the NBA championship series.
We had a lot of jitters and nerves. We were playing against, the world-renowned Lakers.
The look away to Livingston. Jordan. Oh, a spectacular move by Michael Jordan. That's 13 consecutive field goals. We welcome you back to the Forum.
We didn't really have the fan support. It was a road game for us. We had to come together, the 12 players and the staff that was there, and it was really just up to us.
The Bulls lead by 7. Final seconds, Magic's three-point attempt blocked. Pippen comes away with it, and the Chicago Bulls have won their first ever NBA championship. And Michael Jordan has answered a couple of questions. There have been doubters over the years whether a team led by Jordan could win a championship.
I want everybody to prosper from this whole event. It took a team to get to this point.
It's an honor to take this on behalf of a great organization and the wonderful fans of Chicago.
We all as players really thank you all for your support, and we all want you to know that this one is for you. But we're going to be back here next year for another long struggle.
We wanted to win every game, focus on game to game and what we had to do to get better as a team.
And the Bulls win it 99-94.
Know that this game is just over, but in the back of your mind, there are some thoughts about the Portland Trailblazers. Not right now. We think about them over the weekend.
They were arguably the best team in the Western Conference. They had the athletes to match up with us.
Drexler against Michael Jordan. This is a matchup that everybody wanted. Jordan again from three-point land. And Jordan fires another three. There's Jordan for three. Yes! I don't believe it. This place is pandemonium. He is hot. Three again. Oh, Michael's good again.
That was a tough tough series. We had to come back here in game 6. You know, they were up, I think, 16, 17 points going into the fourth quarter. You know, Phil Jackson put our younger players in because we were energy guys. He knew that we weren't going to get blown out if we were in the game because of our energy level. Those fans can get you hyped very quickly and get you back in the game. You can be down 10 points and you don't have any energy, and all of a sudden you make a little run, hit a basket, and that crowd noise and that energy starts to feed because it seemed like the sound went straight from the floor all the way up to the ceiling. It's an explosion. We cut the lead down, and the momentum had completely changed in that game. Portland starts to panic a little bit. That was remarkable because we won at home. You know, we won in front of our crowd.
As the season gets so tired and grinding, you know, you think you're headed to another shoot around. A lot of times Phil would just surprise us with different things, taking us to a park, taking us to do yoga. You know, those were just great times.
BJ just holds, bothered by Price, dump to Michael. 6, 5, 4, Michael strip, got it back. 3, 2, Michael falls, fires. Yeah! Does it again! The Bulls win, he looks at the crowd!
The Eastern Conference was much more physical. New York was a hard-hitting physical series. We felt kind of liberated against Phoenix.
Take a 1-point lead, and Phoenix calls for time.
Blocked by Horace, picked up by Miller, it's over. The Bulls win the championship.
Not only they win, but now they win in every year. This is an incredible departure for Chicago. That everybody in sports is looking toward Chicago as the model, as the team to be most feared, most respected, most admired, and most copied.
Because there was excellence every night, because of the publicity that this team got during those years, propelled the league into something that it had never been before.
When I lose the sense of motivation and the sense to prove something as a basketball player, it's time for me to move away from the game.
He's the greatest player on the planet. The game was different, the rules were different, it was a much more physical league. It was a grind because we had with 3 straight years, the Olympics, Dream Team, and so the pressure of score 30 or more points every night to go up against teams that you know are geared to stop you. I don't know if anyone could have ever been able to withstand that.
The word that Michael Jordan was officially returning to the NBA was made at about 1 o'clock Central Time today.
He was a little different player. He had trained for baseball. His body was a little bit different. He was a little stronger, lower body, and didn't have that as much pop as he had. In typical Michael fashion, he knew how to adapt his game. You know, he became kind of a post-up player and hit those fadeaways.
The newness of the building was much more cavernous than the smaller, more intimate Chicago Stadium. I think they grew to love the United Center.
Jordan Road Tour, 1995. The Bulls are 2-2 since his return, and one of the most asked questions in America is he as good now as he was before?
We're still trying to find ourselves, and they're a much better team than we are right now. And I think we get to see what kind of work we need to work on down the stretch to even give this team a challenge somewhere in the future.
Oh my, Michael is back. We'll have the tip-off in just a moment. Michael, how you doing?
What's up, big dog? Thanks. How you doing? Thanks, man. I appreciate it. I need the shoes, though. I got you.
At guard at 6'6" from North Carolina, number 45, Michael Jordan.
All right, Michael Jordan, I guess a nice round of applause, a longtime nemesis of the Knicks.
And there is number 45, in case you haven't heard it already. Jordan wore that number in junior high, wore it as he went to baseball for 18 months. So Michael comes back to New York City. He loves playing in this gym. Jordan, 15-footer. Look out.
Yes, Michael Jordan hitting on his first field goal attempt.
My whole attitude was just relax, let the game come to you.
And he shoots again. is 2 for 2 to start this game.
I could tell in the first quarter I really had something going.
They're going to keep going to the well with Jordan and Starks. Double team. Oh, too late! Oh.
Prior to his premature retirement, nobody guarded Michael Jordan straight up better than John Starks. The Knicks still plan to have him go one-on-one.
Michael Jordan, he's on fire.
A lot of times I come in here, you want to do so well here, you get a little tense.
All the games I've seen Jordan play, I've never seen him go like this. Those are very happy, positive butterflies, but they are in his stomach.
It's 20 first quarter points for Michael Jordan. There are 8 players in this Bulls roster who never played with Michael Jordan before. He came over to the huddle like this, like his hand was steaming and on fire. They were laughing and they said, "Stay hot."
I had low expectations for myself, of really just to try to fit in, get a chemistry, get a rhythm, you know, let things fall where they may.
Did you ask, is he back? Oh, come on. What a move.
Michael, you're hogging the ball.
I don't think there will be any complaints from Phil Johnson or John.
Jordan loves playing Starks. Jordan gets ridiculous now with that fall-away one-hander.
That was like slow motion. He was just gliding. Knicks lead by 6. Jordan is fouled. And that time he was knocked down. The story in this first half. Number 45, Michael Jordan.
His return to Madison Square Garden, his 5th game back. Michael Jordan, 20 points in the first quarter, 15 in the second quarter. He already has a new season high now of 35, but after 24 minutes, the Bulls trail the Knicks by 6.
I guess it took 4 games for me to really get my rhythm down. I was a little nervous that it was going to take longer.
Isolated against Starks.
See, the defender Starks has always got to be ready for the drive with Jordan. You don't want to be dunked on. The great jump shot makes him impossible. I don't know what's more exciting than watching great expectations take place and be fulfilled. And that's what's happened with Jordan.
42 for Michael Jordan, and he's tied the game.
As much as I would have practiced, there's no way I would have gotten ready for game time. I needed to play games.
And Jordan fires and hits. 3-pointer for Jordan. And the Bulls lead 82-80.
Well, I mean, you know me, I'm a very aggressive guy. I'd be lying if I said I came out to pass the ball. You know, I came out here to score. And you know, I was going to make them stop me from scoring.
This is MJ's night, and he is delivering in a very big way. And Michael Jordan with 51 points. And Michael Jordan continues to roll. Jordan with 53. Wow! Jordan played very well by Starks. Starks using his forearm to neutralize Michael. Got him in the air. Michael Jordan has 55. He had to work for them. And that is a high for the NBA this season. The Knicks call for time. Tied at 111. 14.6 to go. If you're the Knicks, do you allow him to hold the ball, milk the clock without double teaming him? Now you see they're taking it at the full length of the floor.
Let's set a pick for Jordan and let's have him make the winning shot. I would imagine. I would think this is a one-shot deal for them. The worst that happens is they have overtime.
Starks lost his footing here.
Thrilling to be part of this.
Michael Jordan, and a surprise sets up Wennington. Finds the open man. Wennington with a jam. 3.1 remaining. Timeout, New York. Here's Starks. He falls down, loses the ball in the backcourt. Backcourt violation. Great win for the Chicago Bulls. Michael Jordan, 55 points in this ball game. The Bulls beat the Knicks 113-111. Let's go to Craig Sager. Well, if you're going to make a comeback, you better come back as good or better than you have before. You surprised people all over the world. 55 points.
Michael played 13 games in a regular season with us, and we made the playoffs.
It's all over, and the Bulls' season comes to an end.
I think that really set the stage, at least for Michael.
For a while, we had a lot of hope within ourselves. We believed in ourselves, and if we didn't believe in ourselves, we wouldn't have been to this point.
Michael, being the person that he is, stepping up to challenges and not liking to lose, came back the next year with a vengeance. With his dedication to the game, he kind of forces everyone else to come along or get out.
The Chicago Bulls have regained the NBA throne, and for Michael Jordan, the king returns.
An emotional moment on this Father's Day for Michael Jordan.
You know, I can't even put it in words. On Father's Day, what it means to me. I know he's watching. This is for Daddy.
MJ, top of the circle, against Russell. Michael hangs, fires, scores! He knocked it in, Bulls win! He knocked it in at the buzzer, Bulls win! How many times has he done that? Michael against Russell, 12 seconds. 11, 10, Jordan a drive, hangs, fires, scores! He scores! The Bulls lead 87-86.
The Chicago Bulls have won their 6th NBA championship in the last 8 years.
This year, that's been the NBA's preseason. Players trying to work out, negotiate, and get new deals in a matter of weeks as the regular season opens February 5th. However, Michael Jordan's announcement did slow that frantic pace to a crawl. MJ's peers react to his retirement.
People really didn't want to believe a man could actually fly, and he gave everyone that belief that for a little bit, maybe they could.
You're going to miss facing the Bulls with him, knowing that it's showtime.
He made me want to be an NBA basketball player. And, you know, just to tell him, you know, thanks for everything he brought to the game and opened the door up for the rest of the players.
He's undoubtedly the greatest player in the game. We're going to miss him. And I could tell all my 10 children from 9 different women that I played against the great Michael Jordan.
I thought Jesus never will retire, you know. I know Jesus worked 7 days a week, or 6 days. He rested on Sunday, didn't he? Well, Michael Jordan played on Sunday. He does so much for younger guys like myself. You want to strive to be the best. Now the best is leaving, so you still have to get pumped up in some kind of way and see which next person can come over and try to take over his reign.
He's doing what he wants to do. If that's what he wants to do, my respects go to him. He had a great career. You know, now it's time for me to move on.
Not being able to see him play again, you know, it's going to be a little sad. It's like when Magic retired for the first time, and you knew that you never was going to see the no-look pass. I know that we're never going to see Jordan flying through the air dunking, and that's a little sad.
It's a sad day, really. You know, he's the best player to ever play in this game, and we're definitely going to miss him.
It's been a blessing playing against a guy like that, and when I have children and I can show them tapes of telling them this is the best player who ever touched the basketball, and he's going to be very well missed.
You know, when you step on the court, Mike, you was like, it's Michael Jordan, the best. You know, you try to go out there and play good. You just want to beat him, no matter what. So you say you beat the best player ever.
That's the way to end your career, on a sweet jumper to win the championship. You know, that's a storybook ending.
I don't feel like 40. You know, I feel good. I feel like I can compete, and on certain nights I can compete with the best. We needed this game, and I set the tone earlier, you know, that I wanted to come out and win this game. It was a big game for us to get ourselves back in the playoff race. You know, my effort's always going to be, you know, young, no matter how you look at it. My desire to win is always going to be young. My love for the game is always going to be young. My body may say 40, but those other things are going to be young always. My sole purpose for the next 28 games is to have a good time and know what I'm missing. I know I'm going to be missing a game. I know I wish I could still be playing, but things come to an end. I know that, but I just want everyone to see the enjoyment that I have playing the game, even at the age of 40.
When was the last time you were in this building?
It was a retirement. It's been a while. I haven't been here since.
How'd it feel out there? How much of your game you still got left?
Half court and I'm wore out. There's the good thing about it, he's wore out more than I am.
There's no chance ever, right?
None at all. None at all. I mean, today was just break a sweat. See some of the guys try to help the morale a little bit. I had my great reign in basketball. No matter what you guys say, or if I come and hang around the game because I still love the game, that doesn't mean I'm coming back.
Are you going to buy a team eventually?
If it ever comes up, every good opportunity come up, I will.
Mike, in those fleeting moments when you do think about maybe playing again, what color uniform are you wearing? Is there ever any?
Never that thought.
On the 19th of January in 2000, Jordan returned to the NBA, but not as a player, but as a part owner and president of the basketball operations for the Washington Wizards. Jordan's responsibilities with the Wizards were comprehensive. He controlled all aspects of the Wizards' basketball operations and had the final say in all personal matters. Jordan was new to the job and made good and bad decisions. He managed to purge the team of several highly paid players, such as Juwan Howard and point guard Rod Strickland, but used the first pick in the 2001 NBA draft to select high schooler Kwame Brown.
MJ can't be pleased with his squad's performance.
Despite his January 1999 claim that he was 99.9% certain that he would never play NBA basketball again, in the summer of 2001, Jordan expressed interest in making another comeback, this time with his new team. Inspired by the NHL comeback of his friend Mario Lemieux the previous winter, Jordan spent much of the spring and summer of 2001 in training, holding several invitation-only camps for NBA players in Chicago. In addition, Jordan hired his old Chicago Bulls head coach, Doc Collins, as the Washington Wizards coach for the upcoming season. After that decision, people started to see the writings on the wall.
I'd possibly come back and play at a level of basketball that, that I left the game. The odds are that I probably can't.
Right in the hands of Jordan, who anticipated. Takes it back the other way of Jordan.
Some people wouldn't want to see me out there playing, because they have a perfect perception of how my career should end.
The Chicago Bulls have won their 6th NBA championship.
But ultimately, they don't get up and look in the mirror and say, hey, what if?
Speculation has ended. Rumors confirmed. The greatest player of all time is back, and he's wearing a Wizards uniform.
It was a view that people had to get used to. Michael not wearing the Chicago Bulls uniform. The other question would be, can Michael still play, or will he embarrass himself? The media didn't know what to make of his return.
Well, you would have thought it was circa 1991. Michael Jordan coming to a sold-out Palace to go to work. But no, it's 10 years later as MJ making his return to the NBA. And moments ago, he walked on the court for the first time, ending a 3-year retirement. About as close as MJ has ever gotten to a standing ovation here in Auburn Hills. But indeed, the curiosity seekers are here in mass tonight to watch the return of Michael Jordan here on Fox Sports Net as the Pistons tangle with the Washington Wizards.
At guard from Clemson, number 12, Chris Whitley. At forward from North Carolina,
number 23, Michael Jordan.
I'm not afraid to take on a challenge. I'm not afraid to take a step.
The debut of Michael Jordan in a Washington uniform. Jordan takes the jumper and knocks it down. Jordan lays it in.
It's tough to guard me back then, and it still is tough to defend me now.
Here's Jordan in the post. He'll let it fly. And hit another. Jordan on the run.
Oh, tough shot.
Jordan's jumper right there. Off the pump fake.
He still has it. I watched the game, he got 41.
He has caught fire.
It's been a while since I got in that rhythm. I gave you guys a dunk. Y'all been begging for a dunk. I even dunked the Boston. I'm not bad for a 38-year-old man. Well, the young dogs are going to chase me around.
This is Jordan with the ball guarded by Vince.
Well, I'm not going to bark too far away from them either.
In the block, right post. It's Jordan. Puts it on the floor. Spinning, turning, shooting, and scoring. Michael Jordan.
Paul, he's been looking forward to that challenge. Quite frankly, I have too. He's a young kid, actually looking to come at me hard.
And he's playing Paul Pierce. Little rock move there. Crossover gets his shooting hand free. That was not an easy shot.
We will resume this, I think, November 7th. I'm pretty sure. But he's got to realize I'm coming in too. So November 7th should be a good game.
Who would have ever thought that 99.9% would have come to fruition in this way?
Well, I mean, there's a reason why I didn't say 100%, and you never know, and when you say that, never, you better be sure that, things are 100% that way, and I couldn't because of my love for the game, but I was pretty sure, when I left the game in '98, I was, pretty sure that I wouldn't come back to the game, 99.9% sure.
Hey, Mike, I got your book. I got your book, I got your poster right here, buddy. I know everything about you,
For you personally, having been gone for 3 years, what's it like being back in the arena? Were you a bit nervous the first time?
I'm nervous in every arena that I go in because I know and I can feel the expectation of the fans. And I've learned in the years of playing the game of basketball is that you're never going to be able to live up to what their expectations are. So I have to set my own expectations and live up to those, and hope that at the end of the day, we all are happy.
Are you 100% happy that you're back?
Yeah, I'm happy I made this decision. I don't regret it. Things happen for a reason. I am just following the path that it's kind of been bestowed upon me, and I know it's going to lead me to wherever it's going to end. And I will appreciate everything that I've accomplished thus far.
Michael proved that he could still play. Many fans were very happy to see Michael back in the sneakers. But one crowd was especially happy.
And a forward, 6'8", from Murray State, Popeye Jones. And forward, from North Carolina, 6'6", Michael Jordan.
Michael quickly became the go-to guy of his team. But even though Michael performed on a high level, the Wizards were struggling.
Jordan inside, fade away, score the goal. He'll try a free throw. Michael Jordan, 44 points, an NBA high so far by a player this year. That ties an NBA high with Nick Van Exel and Tracy McGrady, both of whom have hit 44 points.
Since Michael had left 3 years ago, the NBA had a new breed of NBA superstars. Kobe Bryant and Vince Carter were now claiming the top.
And here is Vince Carter with his first stop.
Let's go home! Let's go home, ladies and gentlemen! Let's go home!
Here they are. Hardly made eye contact, though, once they hit the court. Let's flash back. A dose of ESPN Classic, shall we? Chapel Hill. Michael Jordan hitting the game-winning shot in '82 against Georgetown for the NCAA title. And then at the age of 38, Michael Jordan as a Wizard. Sticking it early, hitting 3 of his first 4 shots, all jumpers. More of MJ in this game. Off the pick, 22 points in 27 minutes, 3 rebounds, 4 assists for Jordan. Let's flash back. As a Tar Heel, Vince certainly had hops, but he averaged just over 12 points a game in 3 seasons at UNC. And then at the ripe old age of 24, Vinsanity, a sniper. 18 of his 31 came in the first. Off the steal, Vince sending a message to Michael with his defense. Jordan had been quoted as saying that he thought Kobe was better than Vince because of his defense. Michael would later say and admit that Vince has gotten better on D. Anyway, there's one of 2 air balls by Michael Jordan. Then again, Jordan had trouble with his jumper at times, 5 of 17 from the field. As we flash back, Jordan hard to the basket for the Tar Heels. He averaged just over 17 points for Dean Smith. And then Jordan, welcome back to the NBA. Olajuwon all over him. Flashing back, Vince's turn. Back at Carolina, when Coach Dean let him fly, he hit. And then Vince, back in this game, 31 points in 31 minutes, 10 for 23 from the field, 4 3-pointers, 5 boards, 3 assists. And look who's getting the foul calls now. Vince Carter. His Raptors are winners over Michael's Wizards. For a guy who said this game was no big deal, Vince Carter sure didn't play like that. Not when you scored 31 in 31 minutes. Michael Jordan has led the Wizards now in scoring in 5 of 7 preseason games, but the Wizards are only 2-5 in those games. As for Carter, he's led his team in scoring in all 7 of its preseason games, but the Raptors are 5-2. As for reaction?
I think as an elite player, and you'll find that he's getting to that point, you're going to have to be able to play both ends. And that's a big challenge for him, and he's taking that as a challenge, which I totally appreciate. As a fan and as a Carolina grad, I want him to continue to improve as a player. So every now and then you have to look at challenges, and I think he's accepting it as a challenge.